right, as fun little flicks. In today's video, I'm going to show you a piano trick that I call the flick. And when I show it to piano students, they love it because it instantly adds tons of fun personality to all of your chords. So grab a piano and start flicking with me. Hi, if you don't know me, I am Matt Hodge, and I have been a music professor and a piano teacher for the last 15 years, and I've worked with hundreds of music students, and I love it. And I love showing all my fun tips and tricks that I use almost every day as a professional piano player. So let's dive into the flick. All right, so I got my setup. Here are my hands. You can see my piano, my keyboard underneath me, and you can see me on the screen. The flick. What is the flick? Here's what it is. Pick a chord. So let's start with C major. So you've got your three notes, right? C, E, G. The flick is going to be a cool little thing you're going to do in the middle of the chord. So if we have E as our middle note, you are going to choose one of the notes beneath it and flick up to the E. Now in music, we often call this a grace note. In sheet music, it can be written as like a little thin, almost like transparent, invisible small note underneath a note. I call it the flick because that's what it feels like I'm doing, and students seem to respond to that name better. It's easier for them to remember. So we're flicking. So if E is my middle note in this chord, I'm going to flick up to it. So let's pretend like I put my finger on D. That's right beneath it. Instead of going like this, I'm going to do this. Right? Now I can either play it with the C or without the C. But the point is, whatever chord I'm doing, whatever the middle note of that chord is, I'm going to choose a note beneath it and flick up to it. So, right? If I was doing F major, F, A, C are the notes, so that A is that middle note, so I'm going to choose the note beneath it and flick up to it. So instead of it being this, it's going to be this. Yeah? Now, there are two different ways to do this because you'll notice you've got a couple of notes that are beneath it. So for example, back to C major, C, E, G. Well, I could flick one whole step below it, which is two piano keys. Whole steps and half steps on piano, the easiest way to learn it is a half step equals one piano note. A whole step is two. So the D is a whole step down below, or two half steps. And this black key, the E flat or the D sharp, is one half step below. So you could do two different ones. You could do the D or that D sharp. Now there is a difference, and you do want to choose carefully because it depends on the genre of music. So I'm going to dive into that in a minute. But first, let's just practice it. So let's do G major. G, B, D. If you got your piano, try this with me. So B is that middle note, so we need to pick a note beneath it. So the note between G and B, that A. Now play the G major chord, but flick A to B. Yeah? Now do it again, but now try, instead of it A to B, A sharp to B, where it's just the little distance. Yeah? Now I'm going to show you how this little trick is used in a lot of genre type of piano playing. So if I was doing these chords here, B flat major, F major, G minor 7, F major. Now if I don't add flick, this is what it would sound like. Sounds nice, right? But if I want to give it a little bit of pizzazz that we often might hear in like pop music or country, this sort of these little flicks. Now notice how I'm going to play this twice. The first time I'm not going to have any flicks. The second time I'm going to add a flick on almost everything. Right? You can hear the flicks. Right? Now, I wouldn't do this every single time I hit a chord because it can get a little old after a while. So you pick and choose your battles. But if I was jamming on those chords for a particular song, I would throw it in there, right? right? It adds fun little flicks. Now, if you choose the one that's even the smaller distance, that half step. So let's try a new key. Let's try F major, C major, G major, okay? If I want it to be a little jazzier, if I want it to be jazzy, bluesy, that's where those half step flicks come in. So instead of it being, so for example, FAC, that middle note A, instead of it being a full note down, it's gonna be just that little note down, that half step instead of the whole step or 2 half steps. So it gives a bit more of a jazzy, bluesy feel. Yeah, so I'm gonna play those chords, but now I'm gonna do all of the flicks are gonna be just the half step down. And notice how jazzy and bluesy it sounds. Right? Now, why does that sound jazzy and bluesy compared to the other way? Well, jazz and blues has a lot of chromatics, which is half steps. If I was to play a chromatic scale, that means I'm playing half steps, which means I'm going literally from one piano note to the next. And it kind of adds notes that aren't in the key signature. So it gives it a bit more jazzy, bluesy. So if I was just jamming on chords and I want to start to give them personality, if I wanted to feel pop and rock and country, I'll add the flick, but make it where it's the note that's still in the key signature. So like the 2 half steps down from the middle note, or 1 whole step. So the one that's not the tiny flick. If I want to turn something jazzy and bluesy, I'm going to add the flick, but it's going to be those half step flicks. So the note that's just right beneath that middle note. So it's going to be more chromatic, and it's going to add a note that's not in the key signature, and it's going to give it more of a jazzy feel. Right? So fun little trick. So try it. Just any scale or any chords that you know, practice just adding a flick note, whatever chord it is, right? If it is an E flat major chord, just choose a random chord and then practice the flick. You go to the middle note and then practice finding that note that's beneath it and flick up to it. And that could be this, the F to the G, or it could be the F sharp to the G, or G flat. Right? It's either the note that is 2 half steps down or 1 half step. Or in other words, the note that's in that key signature or not in the key signature. Either way, it sounds super cool, and it helps you kind of improv in different type of genres. If I'm improving jazzy and bluesy stuff, I'll throw in those chromatic flicks because it instantly jazzes it up, right? And if I'm doing pop, country, rock, musical theater type of stuff, I'll add the flick, but it's going to be the note that's in the key. All right, so try it for yourself. Try it on a bunch of different chords. It's a lot of fun, okay? So keep flicking and check out one of the videos on the screen. I've got other videos with other fun piano tips. On this screen, I'm gonna put up 2 videos. One is dealing with 3 piano mistakes that I see students make a lot, and one is dealing with how can you make scales a bit more fun. I promise you can do it. So I'll see you over there, and until then, keep making music.